about this new show that I've been watching. It's called The Magicians. I saw the trailer, and the trailer looked good. So, yeah, kind of regretting that decision. It's basically about how normal people go into a school of magic. And basically, he's been in a mental hospital who's called Quentin. And he's been obsessed with magic and fairy tales and stories like that. And obviously, he's stereotyped as, a grow up dude. And, he's at a frat party and he's there and he talks about everything and anything to do with magic. Which is, it's interesting, yeah. And I feel his awkwardness. His awkwardness is there. But then he goes off into a random, I think it's his own room. I don't even know why he had the party in the first place if he's so damn awkward. But I'm guessing from the other two characters who randomly showed up. One who I thought originally was his sister, and she just goes, "Oh, I don't know why you're still stuck in this fantasy world," but obviously she said it in a nice way, which you can't ever do in a show, a nice way. But I was like, oh, it's nice to see a nice family dynamic where it's not just a love interest and, oh, wait a minute, she just kissed him. Why did she do that? And I was just like, oh no, it's a romance. And their dynamic was sort of brotherly, sisterly. And then apparently the boyfriend just walked in, and instead of him actually being angry, he just goes, three-way! And I was just like, oh no, this is going to be one of those shows. It's going to make 90210 look family friendly. I know there's magic in this, just wait for the magic. Because they had a starting scene with this red-haired woman and this other guy who was reading the newspaper. And she just dumps a fucking moth in his lap. And instead of just going, what the fuck, what are you doing, get away, he just sort of folds the paper he was reading, he folds it over and just starts talking to the woman. And I was just like, okay, this is a magic-y sort of vibe. Is he going to open the paper again and find it magically disappeared? No, he leaves it there, and he leaves it folded. And I was just like, he's just going to have a paper full of moth the next time he reads it. So it just was unnecessary. It was an unnecessary start scene. And then it moved on to the obvious frat party. And they spent another 10-15 minutes, maybe even longer than that, continuously mentioning how the main character is weird and awkward and for reading these fantasy books. And I was like, okay, we know that. Move on to something else. Move on to the magic. Where's the magic? I watched for 25 minutes only for them to go, here you go. Oh, dead person. And it's not even a genuinely looking dead person. It's just a dead guy. It was just really, it was sort of weird. I was like, okay, there's no magic here. There's no magic here. And then they've magically ended up going into this section where they have to take his test. And the answers are, continuously moving. And I was just like, the girl's just freaking out. And, she wants to say something and put her hand up and be a sort of polite little person that she really isn't. But, like, I felt for her in that moment. And I was just like, don't be a dick, please don't be a dick, don't be a dick. Damn it, he's a dick. And it was a standard sort of exam, but it was just sort of a 99% fail exam. It was just really stupid. And they were, the way they goes, oh my god, I'm so happy to see you, that was nice. And then they made it awkward. And obviously the girl didn't pass and the other guy did. And apparently pain causes people to automatically remember things about magic, even though the girl didn't get in. And it's supposed to be foolproof. Obviously their Obliviate wasn't working, so they decided to use this fancy hand movement. I know that's a recurring thing. I know that's their shtick for showing magic, but it looks like, the scene in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the live action one, where they do all these scenes and they bring up like a pebble and that's it. Loads of different hand movements, complicated sort of breakdancing movements, and then they just go, teeny gust of wind. And I'm just like, come on, there's more than that. I know there's more than that. Like, the whole scene where the main character did his own magic-y thing, obviously he was bound to do that. It took them 40 minutes to actually get to this point. The dean was just like, do magic, otherwise I'm going to yell at you to do magic. And I was just like, that's not how it works, son. He obviously did his magic thing, and it was interesting. I liked it. But I thought the actual show was put out in 2010, not 2015. So I was like, oh, okay, for 2010, that's not bad CGI. And then I googled again. I was like, oh, it's 2015. That's kind of shit CGI. And obviously, the main character gets into the school. He does this sort of magic-y walkabout thing where he meets this character from a book that we have no idea what it's really about. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. It shows how much I paid attention. It reminded me of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, just, worse. He gets into the school. He meets probably my favourite character, and the only thing that I am, the only thing that I will watch is a character called Elliot. Like, you've got the blonde one, you've got his old friend, who I thought was his sister, you've got the mind reader, you've got the frizzy hair woman, and that's about it. I think there's about 5 of them. And then I just like, I don't really know who these people are. The blonde one's kind of a bitch, even though apparently she's amazing at magic. And her scene with the magic, that was cool. I liked it. It was cool. But she's a dick character. She's an absolute asshole. I hate her. Like, there's rumors about her family being all pretentious, and then she basically just acts a mix between pretentious and a bitch. So as soon as the main character just says hi, she goes, oh, I'm sure you've heard about all these rumors about me. What are you going to do? Or do you want me to teach you how to do magic and shit? And he was like, yeah, I was hoping you would do that. Well, no, because I'm such a bitch and meh. I do not like her. I do not like her. And then you have the mind reader and the frizzy haired woman. And I did not know those characters' names until episode 2. Because they were, as I said, they were speaking so monotone and their dialogue was so... Like, I would have rather, in episode 2, I would have rather listened to 42 minutes of someone going, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm good. How are you? Hey, how are you? For 42 minutes rather than what they had. But I'll get back to that later. These random 5 people, 2 of them we barely know, and we only get introduced to them because the girl just, she's sitting in front of the guy, and obviously the guy's the sort of leaning over and looking at her and stuff, and he just goes, yeah, and she just turns around and she's like, what? He's like, yep, and he's like, what do you say? Nope. And I'm just like, oh, you're a mind reader, huh? Is that just you being obnoxious, or is it just, like, if they wanted to show that he was a mind reader, here's how you do it. It's called narration as internal monologue. Like, she could easily be thinking, like, about something, saying, oh, I wonder if that guy is a telepath. And the guy could then respond, yep. And that would then justify her surprise instead of him looking like a dick saying yep all the time. And then Miss Blondie, I think she has a name. I think it's Alice. She wears glasses and it just looks like she's wearing them for her to make her look smart, like way back when. But it was stupid. But she just magically just grabs the main character, and he just goes, oh, this sigil's on my hand from a dream. Oh, it's something to do with summoning. Not knowing full well that it's to do with necromancy. They switch between these sort of dreamlike scenes or these sort of I'm just going to call them travelling scenes, to do with this character that only he knows out of a book. And anytime he mentions it, either he goes, oh my god, I can't believe you don't know that, or if they do exactly the same thing where, oh my god, I can't believe you don't even know that magic. Like, how do you not know? It's like, oh, it's not like I spent like several years in the normal world not knowing anything about magic, which they have addressed several hundred times. Like, continuity, people. Let's see. So they ended up doing this necromantic sort of seance-y thing where they're trying to raise the dead. Like, that's a good idea. But Alice just randomly goes, oh, okay, we have everything ready now. Oh, wait, 2 people can't do it. 4 people have to do it. And it turns out mind reader person goes, oh, they need help. Let's go help them. Even though he has no idea what the hell he's supposed to be helping with. Convenient plot. And then we have probably the best and creepiest scene in the last episode. I was terrified. I hate horror. So, like, I am scared at a funny looking badger, for fuck's sake. So they do the whole seance thing, and obviously I was expecting either a jump scare or the standard, oh, nothing happened, ah! Yeah, that didn't happen, which was, well, it half happened. So they goes, oh, it didn't work, and they all go off screen, and they all walk out of the room, and then you see this mirror, and someone draw a smiley face on it. Now, this comes back later, but none of these characters know that this has happened, and none of these characters see the said smiley face. The only one who sees the said smiley face is us. So we go back to the room, and they're taking their normal lectures. It's suddenly going to be 12 midday, and Alice really should have read that bloody thing properly to see when it was supposed to be raised. But anyway, some sort of Mothman comes out of the same mirror where they drew the smiley face, and yes, it was fucking creepy to begin with. Like, bear in mind, I'm watching this at like 1 a.m. and I can't sleep anyway. So he comes out, he kills the teacher, and then the dean runs in, does his teeny little wind spell, and obviously it doesn't work. He ends up all sort of scarecrowy because Mr. Mothman does this sort of hand thingy. And, the reason why Alice wanted to do this seance thing is because she wanted to find out what happened to her brother, who was in an accident 5 years ago or something. And there's all this sort of random exposition of how the third years, not only 4 of them are left, or the third years are all disappearing or something. And I was just like, okay, don't care about that. Go back to the actual magic, please. I think they did one scene decent. Is basically where they showed Magic College. And like, you had all the nature people, you had the psychic people, you had the telekinetic people, you had different sort of subsections, but basically like showing them as nerds and then showing people as jocks. The one stereotype I don't like, they did actually pretty decently. So that the whole magic thing was okay. It was the only reason I was really watching at this point. But Magic Mothman comes in, kills a teacher, paralyzes everyone so nobody can move. I thought it was a time spell, which would make more sense considering. But no, he makes the dean go all scarecrowy so he can't move. And he gouges the dean's fucking eyes out so he can just put the little eyes down and write and draw a little smiley face in blood. Obviously, that was terrifying the first time I saw it. But then I'm thinking about this at like 2 a.m. in the morning. And I just go, hang on a minute. That's not really that scary because it doesn't really make sense. The reason why it doesn't make sense is because these characters are in a situation where, oh look, he's drawing a smiley face. We didn't see that before. Where the fuck did that come from? And the only one who would realise that is people who are watching. It didn't serve any purpose. Like, his whole sort of striking fear into the hearts of people, okay, he did that with the disintegration of a teacher. And yes, okay, the gouging out of the eyeballs was fucking terrifying. But then he just goes, hello, Mr. Main Character, and then that's it. That's just it. That's how the episode ends. Oh yeah, there was a cannon fodder boyfriend of the, Julie. There you go, Julie. She obviously doesn't get in while Quentin does. Nobody saw that coming. So she just decides, I'm going to learn magic on my own. And she can do this sort of lightning thing that comes out of her hands. And she looks like, the next time we see her, she looks like a hobo for the rest of the episode. I think before Mr. Mothman comes in, it turns out she's perfectly okay again and she can kick people's ass. I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. She was supposed to be depressed and now she's not. Whatever she's on, can I have some? If that's what it takes to solve depression, yeah, sign me up. Do magicy thing with your hand. And then she gets recruited by this obvious dark cultist guy. He's got a feckin' black star on his hand. Of course he's gonna be a baddie or a, alternate clan against this magicy fancy school. But just, the way he shows his sort of mark, he doesn't show it at her, he shows it at the camera. Like, for the first episode, I thought it couldn't get any worse, but unfortunately it did.